Welcome back to more coverage of the Sebring 12 Hours here. We join you back with the BMW this time. Again, this team is Steven Russell in the car right now, and then Stuart McFall, Nathan Roth, and Logan Smith also driving for this squad. You saw them in a wreck earlier in our first broadcast of the day, and then they had some more bad luck as they were wrecked in a different incident earlier in the race as well. So not been the best. Oh, we got a crash. That McLaren and a GTP came together. It was a GTP Cadillac back there. So that was a big incident behind. As you see, the GTP going to go by the McLaren GT3 here. As we take a look at it. As you'll see it just fine from the back view here as we go through. There we go. See the GTP get, ooh, man, that's tough to call. I think as the GT3 car, you're expected to get out of the way there. I think if it was equal class, I'd call that closing the door, but I would say in that spot with the GTP that close, it's probably smarter just to not try to close off the apex, but leave that up to interpretation. As jump back to live action here with the number 33 BMW, currently running 27th, so fairly similar position to what the Mercedes is running in their own race. Again, closing in on 6.5 hours to go for these guys. And Steven Russell is currently your driver in the BMW right now. Steven is a senior from Houston, mechanical engineering major, has spent 5 years with the Auburn iRacing team, so a real veteran. And a fun fact about Steven, he actually lived in Russia for a year, so I was surprised to learn that when I was talking to him about it, but very cool fun fact. I would say that's one of the cooler fun facts we have from anyone on the team, was living in Russia for a year. And just like we mentioned with Pierce, he also grew up a fan of a rival SEC school as a Texas fan, but has also been converted in his time here at lovely Auburn University. But you see Steven on track right now, a founding member of the Auburn iRacing team, as is Reese Bayham, who was in the Mercedes today. So a couple of founding members in this race today. These guys go way back with the team, and both of them have been reliable drivers as we follow along with Steven, just making his own laps. We do expect him to be in the next few laps for a pit stop and turn control of the car over to Nathan Roth moving forward, but we will have an interview with Steven once he hops out of the car, so excited for you guys to get to hear us chat with him. First time we've got to do that with one of the drivers today, which is always nice. I appreciate being able to do that every time. As taking a look at the lap times, you see Steven is almost 2 seconds faster than the car in front of him right now, 22 seconds back. So closing in quickly, and this is on old tires, keep in mind too. So unless the car in front has just pitted and come out on cold tires, which you see the car in front currently is in the pit, so that'll be what it is. That Porsche is in the pit, so up to 26th place now for Steven and the BMW. Or no, that just came out of the pits right in front, I believe, according to the timing ladder. So it says 4.5 back. I think he's in front of that Porsche. I think he's in front of the Porsche. It's showing. Yeah, we take a look at the Porsche behind. So Steven did get by the Porsche in the pits. So Auburn up to 26th place, is now a little under a lap to get to the next car in front in 25th, the Weird People Racing car, the Mustang, which that's a fun team name. We've had a couple fun team names today. As you see, Steven in a little bit of a mess here. A couple other GT3s around him, and then the GTP of the Porsche 963 on the inside. Steven trying to make his way forward against this Mustang. going up towards tower, and yeah, nice move there. Just stay on the inside of the curb. That's perfectly how you set a move up into tower, though. He compromised the exit a little bit. I think he'll be fine, though. You see that Cadillac flying through on the inside. The speed difference of the GTPs is always astounding. As I'm wondering about this Porsche GTP behind that seemed to go nowhere this entire time. As we're gonna run a replay here and show you what it looks like to overtake into tower. As you see, look at this GTP on the left side. Close quarters. You want to know what it's like to drive a GT3 through Bishop right there with a GTP on the inside? That's exactly what it looks like. You see just out of nowhere, shoo, all of a sudden right by. That's great judgment and a great move, though, from the driver of the GTP. It's an impressive work there. As Steven continues pushing his way forward, another GTP goes by. Or excuse me, that's the LMP2. Steven's still riding on his own right now, has 5.2 seconds to the Porsche behind, who, again, is on cold tires right now, but we do expect the BMW in fairly soon, so expect to give that position back up here in just a little bit, but that's just the ebb and flow of endurance racing. Nothing out of the ordinary there for sure, as we close in on 6.5 hours to go. Staying with Russell right now through this middle section. He's got another Porsche in front of him trying to close in on some more traffic. Here's your leader right now in a GT3, the blue Ferrari. We saw the Auburn BMW battling with this car earlier in the race before the pit stop, and the race kind of unraveled from that point. But at one point, Auburn was right here in the thick of it with this blue Ferrari, who has since kind of set sail a little bit. Zachary White in the car right now. We saw Beasley in there earlier, but White doing a solid job in this blue, black, and yellow Ferrari. As GTP gonna go by there, the Cadillac, the best sounding car in all of motorsports, making its way by. I love this shot down the front stretch there, looking at the cars coming out of the gantry, but back to the Ferrari now. It's down into the hairpin. He's got the Porsche behind, but that is not the Porsche that is behind him in the running order. He's got about 1 minute and 50 seconds on second place right now. So there's second. As you see, what that translates to is second is about 12 seconds up the road from first. So Zach White in that Ferrari is about 12 seconds from lapping the GT3 field here at Sebring today, which would be quite the achievement for him. Yes, let's check back in with Steven here. Heading up towards Cunningham, just again trying to finish off the stint strong. This is where you've really settled into your rhythm at this point. There's not much that's going to really throw you off once you're into this groove of the stint forever. It's really those kind of moments where you get in a battle, you maybe get pushed offline, you get marbles on your tires, and you really start to struggle from that point. Is leaving a little bit of a tire track in the dirt and the sand down towards Bishop here. Just such a fun corner. As here's your overall leader right now, the Hypernova Motorsports machine, this Cadillac. We mentioned it was one of the best sounding cars in all of motorsports, and here hopefully you can take a listen to it as we follow on board from the left front shot of this Cadillac. and it gives you a really good view of how low to the ground these GTP cars are. It feels like you're strapped to a bug going a million miles an hour down some of these straightaways. As you see the closing speed on the Porsche. Now, watch the closing speed here as the GTP picks up power. That hybrid and internal combustion engine working together. Oh, the Porsche cuts across. Goodness, that is not proper driving etiquette there from that GT3. The one thing you're supposed to always do is be predictable, and the GT3 did anything but in that scenario. You see the GT3 flashing his lights and being upset. If I was the GTP, I'd be flashing mine right back, although it wouldn't be effective because you're in front now. But goodness, that was almost disaster for your overall leader. Take a look at it again. You see, coming out of the hairpin, yeah, this will be a good view of it. You see a little bit kick the tail out there, but closing, 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 and this is where you just say, just hold your line, man, and cuts across, has to avoid. It doesn't look quite as bad from the offboard as when you're on the splitter at full closing speed, but still not what you want to be doing. As the back end of this GTP looks a little bit unsettled right now. Nick Summers maybe a little bit too heavy on the throttle through portions of the lap here, as jumping back to the live action with Summers into turn one in this Hypernova Motorsports car. Back now with Steven coming out of Le Mans, heading down towards Sunset right now. Oh, the Mustang got loose in the background. Man, nice save from whichever Mustang that is, as Russell will he pit this time? Down into Sunset, taking it wide, nice wrap back through the apex. It's such a satisfying corner to watch from this offboard shot as Steven's going to stay out for another. It's been solid driving from Russell for most of the day. Obviously did have the one wreck, but not his fault, so not really something you're going to strike against him in the ledger today. He's been extremely solid for this Auburn BMW team all day long. There's the car ahead of Steven right now. A minute and a half difference between the two at the moment, but obviously that'll climb whenever the BMW stops next, though you don't know the strategy for the Mustang. Could also have to pit fairly soon as Steven just continues on his way. I will say the one thing about this new BMW, the new Evo design they have, is it looks a little bit less like it takes up the entire track by itself. The old BMW GT3 models felt like they would take up just the entire width. You could not get by. I remember the wide BMW memes that were very popular at one point, although now the Mustang has kind of taken over that moniker as just the beefy car of the GT3 category, though that BMW is still not a small thing compared to the Ferraris or Corvettes, but it can still go pretty fast, and it is right now in the hands of Russell. Down towards Sunset here, you see two cars behind that'll be closing pretty quickly. Those are two LMP2s. As Russell into Sunset this time. Do we see him in the pits this time? Under 6.5 hours now to go, as Russell will stay out. And for Steven, his Texas Longhorns in March Madness this year, for those of you that have been following along with the NCAA tournament, they were kind of a Cinderella. I'd be curious to get y'all's opinions if anyone wants to put anything in the chat on this. Do you consider Texas basketball a Cinderella? Because I personally don't. I think when you have the third highest budget in a conference, I don't care what your seed is, you're not a Cinderella, but they were not able to beat Purdue, so the point is now moot at this point anyway, but all that matters for Steven is that his Auburn Tigers are in the Final Four of the NIT, which is clearly just as prestigious. Russell going to give way to the LMP2 car here. Up into Cunningham, staying behind, is now working through Collier. And it's just been consistent laps. He's living right around that 2015, which we saw the pace that Pierce Hanley had in the Mercedes in the top split, which is around a 202 flat for some of those lap times. So some really good pace from Steven here right now in the BMW. And he's got nice clear track too, which helps. He's just been getting caught by occasionally an LMP2, a GTP. He's not really getting in any big pods of traffic, which is really, really helpful when you want to just put down consistent lap after lap after lap here. As Steven's in the pits, Russell is going to come in and pit, so it'll be a driver change here. It'll be Nathan Roth into the car. But some great driving from Steven Russell in this one today for Auburn iRacing, possibly his last stint of the day. As Nathan is in the car now, he'll take back off in 26th place, and we'll see if we can pull in Steven here in just a minute for an interview for you guys after that stint. Hey, Steven, this is Mike on the broadcast. You got me?
I got you.
Hey, Steven. So, pretty good couple of stints for you. I know you had the one incident that was not your fault, and obviously that's unfortunate to be involved in. But kind of racing deals sometimes. These endurance races, that's going to happen. Overall, how did you feel about the stints and the pace you had out there? Because it looked pretty solid.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. This is actually my first time doing a race with other classes, so I definitely took a little bit of getting used to and making sure I wasn't losing too much time when they were passing me. But yeah, pace felt really good, honestly. Just brought the tires in nice and slow, and then was able to just keep pretty consistent. So yeah, happy overall.
Well, I know obviously it was not the start you guys wanted today, but still you've been working your way back through the pack after a couple of incidents. What do you think you guys can learn as you go through the rest of the day and just look to keep plugging away at this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just think any experience we can get is just enormously helpful for any future races we have, and especially some of the guys that maybe haven't done as many endurance races, me included, are just learning a lot every lap. So as much time as we can get in is great for us, and then also, we can maybe get our way back up to a top 10 or something if we just keep being consistent. So definitely lots to learn.
Yep, you never know what's going to happen. Thank you for talking to us, Stephen. Again, Stephen, a founding member of Auburn iRacing, put in a couple good stints today. Thank you for the time, Stephen. War Eagle.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you. War Eagle.
As we join back to the track action, here is Nathan Roth getting used to the BMW on cold tires. Now, Nathan, more of a Corvette driver when he's on his own. That's what he drives in the CIL Sports Car Series and in a couple of our test sessions we had this week. But learning the BMW, getting used to it. He was in it on Thursday, getting ready for this one, and looks to be doing fairly okay out there on cold tires. We saw that put up some difficulty earlier for these Auburn drivers, but Roth looking to really get settled in and start pushing forward. Auburn back down in 27th place right now, so still just about holding station where they've been. Is Nathan going to pull to the right and let the two GTPs by down the front stretch? Good awareness there. Sometimes it's hard. You get chucked back out there right into traffic to get your mind kind of recalibrated to, okay, I need to be watching the mirrors, I need to be listening to the spotter, I need to make sure I know when the faster cars are coming. Good job there from the awareness from Nathan Roth. Nathan's a junior from Huntsville, Alabama, aerospace engineering major. This is his third year with the team, and he is a DM for his Dungeons and Dragons group, so knows a little bit about adventures and storytelling, and this has definitely been quite the adventure today for this Auburn iRacing team. So let him keep plugging away, as that was a GTP sideways. We saw the dust get kicked up on camera, but you see him in the wall there, has made the classic mistake of turning right on the straightaway, not usually what you want to do. That is the 139, I believe, either the 139 or the 199 machine there, that GTP car. So we'll see if we're able to take a look at that, as we'll just take a look from this replay view. As you see, just loses it. As I said, turned right on the straightaway, not really what you want to be doing, as it is called the straightaway for a reason. So you see Nathan come by, and GTP still off to the side in the wall over there, as that's going to be probably a long repair going front end in a GTP into that metal wall at that speed. But Nathan's still making his way right now. As you see, there's the replay of it. Yeah, he actually managed to... No, he did not avoid the wall. Okay, just respun it through the grass. So let's take a look at this. As you see from the chopper view here. So, oh, that's a late block. Yeah, yeah, late block there from, I guess, Joey Logano, maybe, in this green GTP. Let's take a look at this from the back view. Yeah, so protects the inside, car behind goes, car behind hits him actually. So couldn't quite see that from the chopper view, but from that close view on, you can see a little bit misjudged from the car behind and takes out our current third place car, or not current anymore, but our third place driver overall. So out of a podium position because of a misjudged move, and then it just, when it rains, it pours. Spinning it in the hairpin there too, as we'll jump back on board with Nathan here, making his way through the hairpin now. That's a beautiful Jaguar silk cut livery on that LMP2, by the way. That's a very cool livery design. Or at least silk cut inspired. Made me think of that immediately. But Nathan making his way along through Cunningham right now, up to Collier, and then to Tower, obviously, as it's been some smooth driving so far from Nathan in this car. Obviously, as we mentioned, not his typical car, and not quite as experienced as Steven in this machine as well, or at least on the team, as 2 less years on the team, but still running some at least solid, clean laps. High 205s right now for Nathan. We'll see if that time comes down. I would expect it to come down as the tires warm up and he really gets into it. But that's the thing that I think this BMW team has really learned today, is you don't need to press too hard too soon on cold tires. You can take it a little bit easy. You can relax into the stint and really work the tires into that working window. As here is your new P3 on the road, the S&S Motorsports car that got into the back of the car that was P3 previously, so that wreck was for position. Not great. As S&S trying to make his way forward, you see a little bit of traffic here, got the LP2 behind. But just some solid driving right now overall. Trying to keep it more clean, though, than that move that was put on the other GTP Porsche, as I'm sure that team will be extremely frustrated in the pits right now. The Big Fast Racing you see in the pits, which, a good team name as well on that one. I like that. Back to your overall leader now. Hypernova Motorsport car driven by Nick Summers. Summers has been very solid today. As you see, has almost an entire lap on the car behind right now. It's about a minute or about half a lap, excuse me. It's about a minute and 16 seconds, I believe, on this. Minute and 16 seconds on P2 is, you see, still keeping it clean, a little bit wide through there, as that was a difficult corner trying to stay wide. Is now going to get by the GT3 Mustang. and back in the corner and all alone again. This is the fun part about being a GTP driver is you get more clean track than pretty much anyone because you blow by everyone so fast. As we'll take another look at Nathan. Here's the BMW down to Sunset. Pretty much all on his own right now, but some pretty solid experience for Nathan, who's been driving in the CIL Sports Car Series so far for Auburn. Drives the Corvette in that series, has done a couple races, had a fairly solid finish at Barcelona, although almost got caught up in an incident. Did a good job to avoid an incident in that race that happened basically right in front of him. So he's learning on the fly here through a lot of endurance and sports car races happening in quick succession, trying to do his best to get acclimated to this environment. As you see, the pace is improving, down from a 2:05.8 to a 2:04.7. So he has more pace in him, I know. In the Corvette earlier this week, he was down in the 2:01. So there definitely is more pace in Nathan right now, although you expect just taking it a little bit easy, settling into the stint. You don't want to do anything too brash too quickly. Get used to the car that's under you. As you see a car closing in behind. It's a GTP. Two GTPs actually not far behind him. Let's take you to a quick live motorsport update from today as Nathan continues to fend off guys behind him, just letting some GTPs through right here. You see the Cadillac going by, but IndyCar earlier today, practice at Barber. I'll give you one guess who you think was fastest. If you guessed Alex Palou, you were right. 106.4 for Palou. Almost about 3/4 of a second, actually, faster than Kyle Kirkwood, who's been really the only guy that's consistently able to challenge Palou, but more of a street track guy has been Kirkwood, though Barber, with some of the tight corners there, maybe that translates over. Renus VK third, Roman Grosjean was up in the top 5 in 4th, and then Marcus Armstrong rounded out the top 5. But the big story of practice in IndyCar was a huge crash from Scott McLaughlin, who went rear first into the catch fence off one of the corners and flew through the fence. His car was buried in the fence completely, backward first. He was okay, but it was a scary crash for McLaughlin at practice in Barber. Obviously, being here at Auburn, Barber's pretty close to us. I've always wanted to go to a race there when I've been down here, but it's looking like that's going to have to be next year because I haven't managed to make it happen any of my first 3 years. So that one will definitely be on the calendar for 2027 is IndyCar at Barber because I hear it's a great environment. I want to see the museum as well. I hear the museum is incredible out there. I've seen some photos of it. They have some great cars down there. And then obviously the main reason everyone goes to Barber to see the giant spider, of course. As jumping back to the track here, Nathan still just plugging along through Cunningham, now headed off towards Tower. LMP2 behind him. As Nathan lets this LMP2 go by. Oh, maybe. Yeah, okay. I thought that was a little close for a minute, but LMP2 does get by. We're going to continue some live motorsports talk and talk about some NASCAR Cup qualifying because in a very fun twist today, friend of Auburn iRacing, Josh Berry, has qualified top 3. So congratulations to Josh. I know that wherever you are out there somewhere, you'll appreciate what's going on right now with the 12 hours of Sebring. So massive congratulations to Josh Berry for qualifying in the top 3. Your pole for the Cup race is Denny Hamlin, and then William Byron will be on the front row with Hamlin. And then the rest of your top five, Ty Gibbs, who continues to put up great performances in that 54. He's been top five in what feels like every race recently. And then SVG qualifies P5 at Martinsville. And I think the big thing for SVG is the short ovals, he's been pretty good at. I feel like that's something that not a lot of people have taken as much notice of for SVG because it's all about the road courses and you have worries about the ovals. But what's really important with this new higher horsepower, lower downforce package is saving tires on corner exit, being able to take care of your tires. And no one does that at road courses better than SVG. And you saw him start to adjust to shorter ovals quicker. It's that same ability to save the rear tires and drive consistently and know how to apply throttle that I think is really going to benefit him, not only in qualifying, as you saw, but in the race as well. So one to keep an eye on is the 97 tomorrow. But Barry was also fast in practice. He was 7th of anyone in that session, but shock horror, it was a 2311 car at the top in Bubba Wallace in that new Hardee's paint scheme. Most popular driver, Chase Elliott, was 4th in practice, and then my guy, Connor Zilich, was 6th. So maybe we can finally get a good finish on an oval. It's been a bit of a rough start to the year so far for Zilich, but hopefully it'll turn around as Nathan's still just making lap time right now, living in about the high the high 204s right now. So solid lap time being put down by Roth as we move towards the halfway point, just about 10 minutes from that 6-hour mark is halfway through the day at Sebring. It's been quite the event so far. We've seen multiple wrecks, multiple accidents, some close calls, some off-track moments, some guys forgetting how to use a brake pedal, some guys remembering how to use a brake pedal and locking up and going straight on. It's been an action-filled day so far down here in Florida at what is, in my opinion, one of the best tracks in all of American motorsport. I know it's one of the most famous as well, but it has so much character. I feel like when you talk about a track's character, it's not just the surface of the track itself and the bumps and the feel, but it's also the history of the track. And I think there are a few places other than, I would say, Daytona is definitely the premier venue in American motorsport, but other than Daytona, I would maybe throw Laguna Seca out there. There are a few places that have more character and history than Sebring in America. Watkins Glen up there for sure as well. But this is an absolutely legendary track, and getting to see an event like this at it, I think, is just so cool that we have the opportunity to do this and broadcast it to you on YouTube here for Auburn iRacing. So Nathan's still in 27th right now, 42 seconds back of the car in front, Weird People Racing, and then about a minute 37 ahead of the number 2 car of Throttle Thrashers behind in 28th. So a lot of space for Nathan right now. He's got a GTP car that's closing in behind him, but still running some very solid laps out here. He got down to the low 204s that time, 204.3, so continues to just build up the pace. That's a great strategy for the stint. Just consistently build on what you can do in this car, get faster and faster and faster, and just by the end you feel like you're really in that rhythm as some green sectors appearing on your screen for Nathan going around Sunset right now. Quick cutaway there, then back to our GT3 leader, this sim racing Ferrari that's been extremely solid all day. Still out to about a minute and 5 seconds in the lead right now. And you see you following along through Tower right now. A little bit of lap traffic on the back. You gotta imagine possibly fresher tires on this BMW behind that's making pace. And here's P2. In GT3, you see the 011 of CanAmVRL.com racing. As you notice on the track, it almost looks like he is in the lead with the gap that the Ferrari has pulled out. It's over half the track length here at Sebring is the GT3 lead for that blue Ferrari. And at this point, I think the rest of the field is hoping that, like on a Wednesday, the leading Ferrari with a blue livery crashes. As happened with James Bowman, that helped bring Pierce Hanley back into the lead for that race. But at this point, I think with a minute and 5 seconds out front, it's going to be extremely difficult for anyone to do anything about that number 27 Ferrari in the lead. He got quite the mess here. This McLaren, which we saw get into an incident with a GTP earlier, is now being closed in on from behind by another member of the top class. Just hanging out in front here. GTP going to go by on the inside. As you see, this McLaren's about 1.9 seconds behind the car in front. And then here you have the BMW in fourth. Got a lot of cars here together. Oh, that's tight. Jeez. That second BMW, the white and orange BMW, I thought was about to pile drive the teal and black BMW off the corner. This is Logistical Nightmares, which would have been quite the appropriate name for that incident if they would have come together there. That would have been a lot of money for, as they say, BMW in Germany. But Logistical Nightmares stays in sixth. He unlaps himself. Or no, excuse me, he passes him. Again, the leaderboard updates every lap. I say that to remind both you and myself as we continue to move on into this race. So, Logistical Nightmares into the top 5, and Scuffed Racing down to 6. A bit of a scuffed lap from the Italian boys there as they drop 2 positions, one to the McLaren and one to their fellow BMW. But Logistical Nightmares now trying to aim forward, has 4.4 seconds ahead to the next car. It is that West liveried McLaren. Here's a couple of GTPs going at it, and this is where it gets spicy. You get these. That's an LMP2 again. The front of the LMP2 looks so much like the front of the Porsche 963 to me as those 2 cars go by. Well, not from that angle at all, so never mind. Oh, that's tight. Again, this BMW cutting to the inside, GTP to the outside, and this is where these guys start to get frustrated of, hey, I've been behind you for a minute, I would like to get by now. Now up through Collier towards Tower. This LMP2 car is the leader. The Australians here. Number 29, it's a nice, like, almost Vice Beach looking livery on that number 29. They're a minute and 20 seconds out front in LMP2, so completely off the front here. As we'll jump back to Nathan. And this is exactly where you want to be if you're an endurance race. You are all alone, as they say, all by myself. And it's the perfect place to be in this scenario because you can just make lap time. Just keep making consistent laps, plug in away, just hit your marks, hit the apexes, find your braking points, and you're going to be set and good to go. You see that time continues to go down. Nathan now running in the low 2-minute 3s, 2:03.2. So I told you he had more pace in there. He's starting to unlock it. Nathan's starting to fly forward here a little bit. 41 seconds now to Weird People Racing. So Nathan taking a couple seconds out of the Weird People in front. That British team. Which I would love to see that battle occur because I think a Mustang battling a BMW might just block the entire track with the width of those 2 cars and the size. But at a 40-second gap, we're going to need to wait a little while before we see anything there for sure. But a minute and a half to go until halfway as, excuse me, sorry. It's been quite the first half of the 12 hours of Sebring here in this iRacing special event. Again, two teams in the race for Auburn today. This is the number 33 BMW. Nathan Roth currently in the driver's seat. You heard from Steven Russell a few minutes ago after his stint. Stuart McFall started the race for this team, and then Logan Smith is also in the car today. Your other Auburn team, the Mercedes we were following a moment ago, driven by Pierce Hanley, Reese Bayham, and Cam Youssef. So both teams have been involved in incidents. It was a spin in turn one for Stewart earlier in the first stint in the BMW that caused a lengthy repair, and then there was the accident that was no fault of their own that they kind of just got taken out in. Then for the Mercedes, it was a couple bounces off the wall out of Sunset for Pierce Hanley that also led to a unfortunate repair time. But it's definitely been an eventful first half of the 12 hours for the two Auburn iRacing teams in this one today, as both will look to continue to push forward as we head towards the second half of this race. Roth going to be in the car for a little while, and then I assume we're going to see a lot of Cam Youssef down the stretch for the Mercedes, as Youssef is yet to drive today. So we will be back later in the day, but this has been your mid-race coverage for the BMW team, as we'll leave Nathan to it here at Sebring to keep hopefully driving to and away from people as racing in the 12 hours continues.